feathers, but back feathers, which they prop up to display for the peahens. After mating season ends, which it did just a few weeks ago, they shed those long, beautiful feathers, but don't worry, they grow right back for next year. That's what all those long, thin white sticks are out on the lawn. Those are all peacock feathers that have been shed recently.
Oh!
The fowl are free roaming, so they're allowed to go wherever they want. That's why you'll see them in many different exhibits and even encounter some on the pathways as you journey throughout the zoo. The shacks and huts that we're approaching right now represent an important conservation story about the honey-colored barasingha deer. You'll get to see a few of those later on during our journey.
In 1970, there were estimated to be only 66 of the barasingha deer remaining in central India. But this population was saved by the cooperation of the local Indian community. Like the shacks you see here, there were many small farms using space in and around India's Kanha National Park. These people were coming into contact with the deer and the tigers that were also living there. Through cooperation with the Indian government, local communities agreed to relocate their villages. By moving, the farmers still had land to farm, but the tigers and their prey got more room to roam.
Now we all know that a species that is extinct is lost to us forever, just like the dinosaurs or the dodo bird. The animals you're about to see in this next exhibit were on the very verge of extinction. They're called Mongolian wild horses, also known as Przewalski's horse. They're the last truly wild horse remaining. They have not been domesticated, as have all other breeds of horses. If you look carefully, you'll notice they even look different from domestic horses, and that's because they have shorter legs and an erect mane, which makes it look like they have a cool mohawk hairstyle, which I'm sure Mr. T would be very proud of. These guys were actually... Who's Mr. T?
Oh my god.
These guys were actually considered extinct in nature, meaning that they could only be found in captivity. But recently there have been some reintroductions of Mongolian wild horses in the herds of northern China and Mongolia, from North American and Asian zoo herds. Captive breeding started with a group of just 28 animals in 1901. The Bronx Zoo received its first horses in 1902, and we've been maintaining our herd ever since.
The first accounts of Mongolian wild horses come from rock engravings, paintings, and even cave drawings that date back more than 20,000 years. And the first written accounts were from Tibet, sometime around 900 AD. But these horses remained largely unknown and unnamed to the Western world for many years. During an expedition to Central Asia in 1879, a famous Russian explorer and naturalist, Colonel Nikolai Przewalski, encountered the horse in western Mongolia. Because of his discovery, this species is also known as Przewalski's horse.
It isn't always easy for our field researchers to locate the animals they want to study in the wild, but I'll be happy to point them out to you today as we go by them, even if they're not always in plain sight. So as we go around and look for the different animals that are in our exhibits today, just put yourself in their boots and ask yourself where you would want to go. If you wanted a shady spot, a quiet place to lay down, or just a little bit of grazing time. Good night, little squirrel. In the next exhibit, we're going to be on the lookout for another endangered species called the gaur. The last time I went around, they were all the way to the very far side of the exhibit, so it'll take me just a minute or two to catch up to them. The gaur are the world's largest wild cattle. They stand about 6 feet tall at the shoulder and are about 10 feet long, and a gaur can weigh as much as 2,000 pounds, about as much as a car. That's a ton. With their huge size and their impressive horns, a gaur can fight off just about any predator, even a tiger. But they are still threatened by the loss of their Asian habitat and by the diseases they can catch from domestic cattle. You can start to see them now. Look all the way to the back right of the exhibit. You can just barely make out some heads and horns, but most of them have already migrated down the hill to the other side. But don't worry, this exhibit does wrap around the next exhibit. So in about 5 minutes, when we come around to the other side, you're going to get an extremely good close-up look at our gaur.
Here at the zoo, we help gaur and brow antler deer, and many other species, by participating in cooperative zoo management programs called Species Survival Plans. The name says it all. The plans aim to help these animals survive. Zoos across the country work together to maintain genetically diverse populations of rare and endangered species.
What? squirrel.
Sometimes it's easy to forget that the Bronx Zoo sits in the heart of an urban environment, but the noise you hear behind you right now is the traffic on the Bronx River Parkway. The large wooden fence directly in front of you was put in to filter the noise from all of that city traffic to make our next animal feel more at home. This is especially important for our next animal because when we cross into the next exhibit, we'll be slowing down to look for our tiger. So we must remind everyone to please keep their seats at all times. Tiger stripes provide an excellent camouflage, and they're so secretive that even professional researchers have trouble spotting them sometimes. But I've spotted our tiger already. Look all the way down to the bottom of the hill to the far right of the exhibit to see Yuri. He's all the way to the right, and when we get a little bit closer, we're going to slow down again because he is all the way to the right of the exhibit, and when we come into the clearing, you'll get a very good look at Yuri. Yuri is an Amur or Siberian tiger. He's 4 years old, and he weighs about 400 pounds.
What are you
He's
saying?
now coming towards us, walking along the fence. We're about to pass right on top of him, so just look straight down, but please do keep your seats. We wouldn't want you to become part of the diet.
Oh, yeah.
Adult tigers are very solitary. They like to live all by themselves in the wild, which is why you'll only see one here on exhibit at the same time.
Oh my God.
And now you know what he uses for a scratching post. Tigers hunt a variety of animals, but their favorite things they like to eat are wild pigs and medium-sized deer. Typically, a tiger will gorge itself on a fresh kill, eating as much as 40 pounds of meat at one time, which is like eating 160 hamburgers all at once. Speaking of hamburgers, we're coming up on the back of the Gower exhibit. So if you missed the world's largest wild cattle, that's because they were all standing right here on this side of the hill.
Got him?
Yeah.
The largest Gower that we have is our alpha male. He's the one to the left with the dark, shiny coat. His name is Eddie, so we call him Eddie Gower. Well, I thought it was funny.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
We're about to pass into the back of the first exhibit that we entered when we first started our tour, so we're about to see all the animals that were hiding way over here when we first started. Look straight down and you'll see some spotted deer. Those are called axis deer. They get to keep their spots for their whole lives, unlike other deer species which lose their spots as they mature. If you look towards the middle of the field, in a group laying down, you can see some honey-colored deer. Those are called barrasinga. Those are the ones you heard the recording about at the beginning of the tour. Barrasinga means 12 horns or 12 tines in Hindi. They get their name because the males have 12 to 14 points on their antlers. If you look even further behind them, you can see those little guys with the white bellies. Those are black-buck antelope, the smallest of the Asian antelope species. And you're also seeing a couple of peahens. Those are the female peacocks. And there are some more of those honey-colored barrasinga deer over here to the right along the service road. Normally, roads mean danger for wildlife because they bring hunters and poachers into the area, and they separate herds into smaller and smaller groups. Here at the zoo, we use these service roads to feed our animals and to bring them medical attention. You don't see too many cars on these service roads, though. You'll see an occasional dog cart. Now here comes one now. Say hello. Usually you see more peacocks and peahens than cars on that road. Look through the bamboo forest that we're entering, and you might be able to spot a type of wild pig called a babarusa, which means pig deer in the Malay language, because of the tusks on the male, which resemble deer antlers. They erupt through the top of their snouts and curve backward toward their eyes. Look to the left of the second pen to see our female Hillary and her two piglets. Babarusas are native to the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia. They have very little hair on their bodies, and their skin color allows them to blend in very well with the mud and the rocks in their exhibit. But you won't have any trouble at all spotting the next animals that we're approaching, because they are two of our beautiful Asian elephants. Their names are Eddie and Maxine. They're all the way to the right of this next exhibit. So we're going to get pretty close to them, so please don't stand up or reach out. Whenever Patty and Maxine are out on exhibit, they are always very close together because Patty and Maxine are best friends.
Aww.
Now take a look at how they're using their trunk. Their trunk has over 40,000 muscles in it, making it powerful enough to rip down a small tree with enormous force. And it's also sensitive enough that they can pick up an egg without even breaking the shell. In Africa, elephants are at great risk. That's because an average of 96 African elephants are being killed every day for their ivory tusks. Last year, we launched our 96 Elephants campaign to stop the illegal killing of elephants. And if you want to join the herd, go and stop by our 96 Elephants display in Samba Village, or visit us online at 96elephants.org to discover what you can do to help save elephants like having a vaccine. As we cross into the next exhibit, look straight down, and you'll get a very good close-up look at one of our Indian rhinoceros. All rhinos are highly endangered. Less than 2,000 of them survive today in India and Nepal. This one's name is Cali. We've actually had 11 baby rhinos born right here at the Bronx Zoo. The most recent calf was born last summer, although breeding is a huge challenge. How many moms are on board the monorail today? Here's something I'm sure all of you want. One mom, okay. Here's something I'm sure all of you moms can appreciate. The mommy rhino is pregnant for 16 months. Imagine being pregnant for almost a year and a half, and then giving birth to a 150-pound baby. Oh, did I mention it comes with a horn? Many people would describe the rhino as warm-blooded, and even though their skin looks thick and tough, it's actually very sensitive and even allergic to sun and insects. A rhino's favorite way to protect herself is to sit in this muddy pool of water called a mud bottle. You see, the rhino covers in there too. She'll cover herself in mud and dirt, which will act as a natural sunblock and insect repellent. Stopping about in the mud, they can shake an open area to their liking.
The horn of a rhinoceros is very different from that of a goat or antelope. It is not attached to the skull. Rhino horn is made from compressed keratin fibers, the same material that is found in fingernails and hair. Although rhinos are a protected species, poaching still occurs. Rhinos are killed for their body parts. Some people believe that this horn has special medicinal powers. It is also used as an ingredient in some traditional Asian medicines, and the rhino horn is also prized in some cultures for making dagger handles.
The short and heavy deer that you're seeing that kind of resemble hogs are called hog deer. They like to run low and creep and duck underneath obstacles rather than leaping over them as other deer species would do. Look over here to the right. This tiny little reddish-brown deer is actually a fully grown Indian muntjac, and that's as big as he's gonna get. Those giant deer that you see toward the back are called sambar deer. They're the largest of the Asian deer species. They can get as big as 650 pounds and grow antlers up to 3 feet long, heavier than our tiger. We're getting a much better look at those giant sambar deer as we come here around the corner. Quite used to our monorail train coming by every 5 minutes or so they don't really mind us at all. Usually they like to hang out all the way to the back, so it's rare that you get to see them up close. So you guys picked the perfect time to come on the monorail today.
That's cool.
Every year, deer shed their old antlers and grow new ones. To help them sharpen and clean their antlers, they scrape them up against the trunks of trees, which tends to rub off all of the bark and kill the trees. That's why all of these trees are wrapped in wire fencing, which provides them a much more efficient way to clean their antlers, and it also helps us to save the trees. Look straight down and you'll see more of those hog deer too. If you look all the way to the far right, up along the rightmost fence, you'll see a large light tan animal. That's one of our nilgai antelopes. That is our male. The nilgai are the largest and fastest of the antelope species. They can run about 40 miles an hour. And our final deer species is definitely the most difficult to spot. They're called China's tufted deer. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a look at how they can blend in like that one, and the beak's out in the middle of that fallen branch. There's a fifth one over there. Looking back, there's 6. Very rare to even see all of these. Usually you only see one, and that's because it's moving. You never see them unless they're moving. Believe it or not, there are 11 of them in this exhibit. Their small size and their dark fur coloration allows them to hide from predators and from tourists with cameras. Another way that they avoid predators is to make a warning sound when they're near danger. It sounds a lot like the bark of a dog, or they can whistle or growl. Or they can just flash the whites of their tails to show other deer in herd that there's danger. We are now passing back over the Bronx River, and at 35 feet above the waterline, this is the highest point in our journey. We all know how important it is to protect the Bronx River corridor and Green Lake, so that it remains a healthy resource for all individuals who call it their home, and for Bronx residents to enjoy as well. To learn more about the Bronx River and its inhabitants, please visit the Mitsubishi Riverwalk along the edge of Parking Area B. The rocky terrain in this next area is the perfect environment for 2 relatives of the wild goat that's in here, the Himalayan tahr and the markhor. You can see the markhor over here with the long spirally horns on the mature males, and some females and their little baby kids. Aww. Markhor are native to Central Asia's rugged mountain and is Pakistan's national animal. It's one of the largest members of the goat family. They're known for their impressive corkscrew horns that can reach 85 feet in length. And for their spectacular climbing abilities as they scale cliffs and even trees their feet. The reason they're such good climbers is because they have special rubbery cores in their hooves which help them to grip the rocks, much like the soles of boots. Over here you can see the Himalayan tahr. Their horns curve backwards and inwards to help prevent serious injuries in headbutting battles during the mating season. Now let's see. There we go. If you look past this big V-shaped tree, there's a small leafy tree behind it. Look to the bottom of where that leafy tree is, and you'll see our red panda, Wayne. In Nepal, they're called hunho, which means firefox. Yes, come into the center so no one can see you. Let's wait and see if he climbs up the tree. He probably won't. He's running around toward the back of that enclosure there. No, that is a fully grown red panda, not a baby. If you want one, you can buy one at the zoo store.
Plaid shirt, you gotta be
Which
in
I
your
heard
seat.
one kid call the dollar store.
With the plaid shirt, you have to be in your seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your safety, please remain seated at all times. If you're having trouble spotting Wayne, because he's not in the best of viewing areas, you can see more of our red pandas over at the Himalayan Highlands exhibit, just a short walk from the monorail. Or you can think about the movie Kung Fu Panda, where Master Shifu was a red panda. We've actually known about red pandas a long time before we knew about the black and white panda bear. We were not related. They both mean the same thing, bamboo. The word panda means bamboo eater. Our adventure is almost at an end, but before we finish, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about us. The Wildlife Conservation Society manages 5 parks in New York City: the Bronx Zoo, Central Park Zoo, Queens Zoo, Prospect Park Zoo, and the New York Aquarium on Coney Island. We also have scientists in the field who manage more than 500 projects at sites in over 60 countries. If you'd like to join us in saving wildlife and wildland, stop by City Center and apply today's ticket purchase for the Wildlife Conservation Society membership. That way you can receive free entry to all 5 of our parks right here in New York City for an entire year. Plus, premium level members will get free Bronx Zoo attractions, free parking, an exclusive members-only t-shirt, and much, much more. We are stopping here momentarily just to wait for the train ahead of us to fully leave the station area so that we can safely proceed ourselves. This is not yet our final stop, so please remain seated. The next and final stop will be the monorail station. And that will be the final stop on our journey together, but please remain seated until the monorail stops completely at the end of the platform and the doors open. And watch your step as you exit from the monorail car. step up from the front row and to step down from the upper level. On behalf of the Wildlife Conservation